Cody Rhodes had one of the greatest returns back home in the WWE that we have seen in years, on the grandest stage in them all at WrestleMania 38, and yet somehow his post-return run has become full of repeated sequels, a story needing to be finished, utter confusion, and sudden changes of plans. So what exactly was the plan, if WWE had any? What's going on, guys? Steele here, and today I'm going to be bringing you another video here today. I'm going to be discussing on how I personally feel Cody Rhodes has had such an overpushed and confusing run in WWE ever since his return back to the company in 2022. This is probably going to be the last video I'm putting out before SummerSlam happens this weekend at the time of this recording, and I'll probably be putting out a review video about SummerSlam, or what I think will happen next after SummerSlam's events have already happened. Let's get into it. So at WrestleMania 38, Cody Rhodes made a shocking return to the WWE and faced Seth Rollins. It was absolutely insane. It was 6 years after Cody Rhodes' departure, and he was building himself into a star outside of the system that he originally started in WWE. You know, he was all over Ring of Honor, AEW, which he started, but now he came back, and he wasn't back just welcomed as a hero, he was welcomed back as the ultimate hero. The top babyface is what he was being built into. This moment basically cemented Cody as the top guy when he came back to fight Seth. This was perfect. It was deserved. The moment felt real. I was so personally excited. And this was peak Cody, I feel like. This honestly should have been the start of a slow burn rise to the top and not an instant golden ticket, which unfortunately, in my honest opinion, I feel it was. So May through June of 2022, Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes feud. They had a trilogy. The first match obviously at WrestleMania, their second match at Backlash, which Cody had won both, and then their third match happened at Hell in a Cell, where Cody famously wrestled with a torn pec, which was a legendary moment. It was iconic. Fans had respected the hell out of him for doing that. And this kind of seemed like the start of a trend. Even with an injury with Cody Rhodes having, WWE kept making him look absolutely indestructible. And that 3-0 sweep of Seth Rollins felt like overkill. I think the overpush energy started pretty much here, and Seth didn't really recover his momentum after his matches with Cody for months, it felt like. I think it made Cody look unreal, and maybe a little too unreal. I think the fact that Seth Rollins had to take 3 clean losses to Cody Rhodes was a little bit upsetting to see. At the Royal Rumble the following year, 2023, Cody Rhodes returned at number 30 as a surprise entrant. Well, not really surprise. It was already announced ahead of time he was coming in. But he ends up winning the Rumble. Fans were still behind him pretty much during this time. But there were some murmurs going around about him coming out at number 30 and winning it. Like, they were thinking, did he really earn this? Maybe someone else should have won it. Maybe someone like Sami Zayn. Then again, at the time, Sami Zayn was in a feud with the Bloodline. So who knows, I think they're pretty much starting to spoon-feed Cody Rhodes everything at this point. But, WWE kind of played it safe here, It didn't feel too organic, I say. It didn't feel too natural and real having Cody Rhodes come back and win this Rumble right out of the gates like that. But the thing was, it was predictable. And even me at the time, I knew long before Cody Rhodes came back that he was coming back in the Rumble and that he was going to win the damn thing. Finish the story. That is the famous tagline that was built around Cody Rhodes defeating Roman Reigns. Cody had a lot of emotional weight. He was carrying Dusty's legacy. This was Cody's ultimate mission, to win the WWE Championship and to do something that his father couldn't do, was officially hold the title around his waist. The build-up for Cody and Roman at WrestleMania was good. The promos were really solid. The fans were invested. And I genuinely, I was a fan. At the time, I really was a fan of Cody Rhodes. I really did not like Roman Reigns. And, as a fan, personally, I was excited for it. I just feel like, looking back now, maybe something just felt like a little bit rushed. Maybe he didn't deserve to be in this spot so soon after just coming back from an injury. I think it was a decent build, but I don't think Cody had been through enough struggle yet to really guarantee his main event spot at WrestleMania, which I can guess, kind of segues into and plays a part at what ultimately happened at WrestleMania 39 that year. And what actually did end up happening in the main event of WrestleMania 39 that year, Cody Rhodes, he lost. In a moment that had every single reason to crown him, WWE just decided to double down on Roman Reigns. Some saw this as long-term storytelling. Others saw it as WWE just pulling the rug underneath Cody's feet. And at the time, I remember watching this, and I was just so upset. I was pissed off. I literally fell to the floor pretty much dramatically, and I was just like, why? I was like, this is never going to end. this bullshit run of Roman Reigns. He's going to be champion forever. Like, this is where Cody should have won. Like, it should have happened here, or it should have never been there at all, period. WWE created their own problem by rushing him into the main event, and then they pulled him back. And then in classic WWE fashion, what they did was he lost, so they fed him to Brock Lesnar. And honestly, overall, the trilogy, I was a fan of. I liked it. The trilogy, it was physical, it was good. But what happened by the end was Cody Rhodes beat Brock, not clean actually, because their SummerSlam match, which was their third match, he literally used the steel steps against Brock Lesnar, which for some reason wasn't a disqualification, but who cares, right? At the time, looking back at this, I feel like this was meant to give, Cody and Brock obviously something to do until Mania the next year. I guess this was kind of used, Brock Lesnar was used as a stepping stone for Cody Rhodes, which I did not like at all. Like, realistically, Brock Lesnar should never be losing to Cody Rhodes. Cody won at Backlash due to a roll-up that he got last second. He kind of snuck in a win there. Cody lost at Night of Champions by passing out to Brock Lesnar, and then Cody Rhodes pinned Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Brock was setting up Cody to do what Brock failed to do, and that was beat Roman Reigns, I think this was too much, though. It was too much too soon. Brock doesn't really lose clean often, and Cody beating him just was force-feeding the crowd and trying to force-feed these Cody crybabies, This was WWE rebuilding Cody Rhodes way too fast after his loss against Roman, and they were trying to restore momentum of him, like, instantaneously, it feels like. And just one last thing I wanted to touch on about this match is, at the end of the match, Brock ended up turning face. He gave respect to Cody Rhodes, and he walked out, and he hasn't been seen in the WWE since then, due to legal issues currently happening, and, which I don't even fully remember off the top of my head the fullest extent and details about it. You guys, I'm sure, can look it up and go into it. And if this is the end of Brock Lesnar in WWE, I think, him going out like that, a passing of the torch moment, from an unbiased standpoint, I think it's good, it's decent, but me personally, of course, as a big fan of Brock Lesnar, not a super big fan of, if I'm being honest. But if it happens like this way, and this is how Brock's going out, then honestly, I'm not going to be super upset with this ending. Post-SummerSlam, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso teamed up. Cody and Jey defeated Judgment Day at Fastlane for the tag titles, and this honestly just felt completely random. This was a complete detour from Cody Rhodes, finishing the story, and it gave Cody a title, but it didn't really mean much, This just felt like complete filler to me, and it added to the confusion of his whole story. It just felt like they didn't know what they were doing with Cody, so they figured, let's just team up him with the second most over babyface right now and give him the titles. In my personal opinion, I figured this was WWE trying to buy time before they really figured out what to do with Cody Rhodes. Survivor Series War Games 2023, Cody Rhodes, of course, to no surprise, is the team captain. And he wins War Games. And once again, the pattern's continuing of Cody Rhodes winning everything and being at the head of everything. This was around the time when I felt overpush mode had been initiated and turned on. The Cody crybabies were going absolutely rampant, and I don't think he needed to take the lead. Someone else could have led the lead. But the good thing is about this night is two of my favorite professional wrestlers of all time, Randy Orton and CM Punk, returned on this night. CM Punk, in my opinion, had the greatest return of all time in WWE, and it was absolutely awesome. And Randy Orton, of course, coming back, Randy being my absolute number one favorite. I was, on the verge of tears. It was really great seeing him back. But this video isn't about Punk, not about Orton. I may have one about them sometime soon. But anyways, now we head to the Royal Rumble the next year, 2024, and Cody Rhodes does it again. He wins the Rumble, back-to-back Rumble wins, and this just feels insulting. It really does. The over-pushing was just absolutely insane, even though it was so... And that's another thing with Cody Rhodes. It's all predictable. It's predictable. I feel like this Rumble win could have gone to somebody who deserved it more. Sami Zayn winning it would have been nice. LA Knight, maybe a little too soon, but definitely CM Punk. Those guys deserved it more. This second win just felt like WWE was in absolute panic mode trying to have Cody finally finish his story, and they just didn't really know what they were going to do, so they fed him yet another Rumble win. Now, after the Royal Rumble, The Rock arrives. The entire story has changed. The Rock has returned on SmackDown after Cody Rhodes gave him his main event spot, which was heading towards the match between Rock and Roman at WrestleMania for the championship, a match that everybody for years wanted to see, but the fans revolted like crazy. the We Want Cody movement had started. It trended everywhere. There's an entire Twitter account revolving around it, which blew up entirely. And WWE had to backtrack because of this. It trended for days straight over the weekend. And Cody, had to get his match back. This was at the expense of long-term planning. And I honestly don't think he was chosen really by the fans. He was rescued by them. Because why would they want to have Rock and Roman go at it if Cody really was this chosen one, This just showed that WWE didn't really have any solid plan, I don't think. I think they just had the vibes going for him. And jumping to the WrestleMania 40 main events, night 1 was Roman Reigns and The Rock versus Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. This was an amazing match. Rock and Roman won, which set up the next night's main event to be contested under Bloodline rules between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. The next night, night 2, the story is finished. Cody Rhodes finally defeated Roman Reigns. And I remember screaming, cussing my head off because I was super excited. Because like I said, at the time, I'm a big fan of Cody Rhodes. Maybe not a big fan, but definitely over Roman Reigns. And it was emotional for sure. And it was satisfying, but only to some, It was clear that this win, had to become a win for Cody Rhodes because WWE got backed into a corner by the fans themselves, And it didn't seem like the win was entirely earned. It seemed like it was almost gifted because, like I said, they got backed into a corner. It's like right win, wrong timing. The road just felt clunky and bumpy, and it was definitely not the perfect route to go to give Cody Rhodes the win. After a little bit of Cody having the championship, he starts a feud with Solo Sikoa, and with Roman Reigns being gone after losing, this gives Solo his little leadership push, becoming the next tribal chief. He feuds with Cody Rhodes for a little bit, and honestly, I feel like Solo was just used as a placeholder. This feud didn't really have a lot of, matter into it, and WWE was just stalling for what inevitably would happen at SummerSlam, which was the Roman Reigns return. He had a surprise return, and this definitely caused tension. Cody Rhodes' reign at this point felt threatened, like Roman was coming back to win that title back. But Roman was just too part-time. The angle couldn't go super far and couldn't work so much, Even then, though, I still felt Roman Reigns, even when he came back after losing to Cody, he still overshadowed Rhodes. And Cody's reign just felt more like a time filler than a new era, like it seemed to have been promised to us all. Little after SummerSlam, Cody Rhodes starts a feud with Kevin Owens. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens led to pretty decent matches, but unfortunately, it got a little repetitive, Kevin Owens just became another challenger, it seemed, and the trilogy was all right, I feel like WWE was just kind of running out of ideas at this point, and there wasn't really any real fire here for Cody Rhodes, him and Kevin, don't get me wrong, both great in the ring, can work really well together, but it just felt like, again, they were stalling and just stalling, and of course they were. And so now we get into the nitty-gritty bullshit of things. The Rock now reemerges, the final boss, the final Diddy. He wants Cody Rhodes to sell his soul, he wants Cody to become an even better star. He doesn't want Cody Rhodes to just be WWE's champion, he wants him to be Rock's champion. And this fuels heel Rock even more, and it hints that Cody Rhodes may not be super clean. It hints that, the seeds for the Cody Rhodes heel run are finally being planted, and finally something interesting is happening. This was good, but it just felt too little too late, if anything. The world becomes absolutely shocked at Elimination Chamber. John Cena turns heel. Cena won the Chamber match, and this guaranteed his main event spot at WrestleMania 41 against Cody Rhodes, but The Rock and Cody came out after Cena's win to see if Cody Rhodes was finally going to accept the final Diddy's offer, and Cody Rhodes says, "Go fuck yourself!" And John Cena ends up kicking Cody right into his Rhodes. This officially starts the John Cena heel run. So the stage is set, WrestleMania 41 main event, Cody Rhodes, John Cena. Cody defends his title against heel Cena at WrestleMania 41, and he loses. Some of the fans are in absolute shock. Some of the fans, like me personally, are absolutely excited. Cena had to cheat to win. This added more to his heel character, and unfortunately, we had that dumbass Travis Scott coming out to cause Cody Rhodes to win, but I don't care because Cody lost, and that's what's important. Finally, a loss Cody Rhodes actually needed. This resets the board a little bit, but it came too late. It came a year after an overpush, And that's what kind of sucks. A little bit after this, Cody Rhodes returned at Saturday night's main event and he dropped John Cena. And then he announced that a tag team match between him and Jey Uso versus Logan Paul and Cena is happening next month at Money in the Bank. Cody Rhodes ended up getting a huge win at Money in the Bank by pinning John Cena. You know, this automatically guarantees Cody's future title rematch. But WWE wasn't satisfied enough, and him pinning John Cena absolutely pissed me off. You know, just ask my homie C Nation. He was quite upset himself. Now, for some stupid, ridiculous reason, they decide to throw Cody Rhodes into the King of the Ring tournament, and whoever wins this tournament is guaranteed a world title shot at SummerSlam against John Cena. Of course, Cody Rhodes gets to the finals, and he beats Randy Orton to win it in such a shitty way. He used the exposed ring post and did a crossroads, and now he's got a SummerSlam title shot. This is where I checked out. I was genuinely pissed off. I was like, that moment right there, I already didn't like Cody Rhodes for a while, and that moment right there was exactly when I was like, nah, fuck Cody, I'm done. Orton did not deserve to be used as a stepping stone like this, and this was WWE forcing the next arc without, you know, a fan buy-in. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, the over-pushing is absolutely insane. He pinned Cena at Money in the Bank. Why does he need to win King of the Ring tournament and pin Randy Orton? Randy had to put Cody over. For this, he already earned his rematch. So now, of course, this upcoming weekend, we have John Cena and Cody Rhodes for the championship again at SummerSlam. Their match at Mania was already ass. And now it's going to be a street fight, and we're going to see what's happening. You know, one of the rumors going around is heel Cody coming? Is he actually going to arrive, you know? Is Cody Rhodes going to turn heel at SummerSlam? Is John Cena going to become babyface again? Are they going to try the double turn? Who knows? I mean, they can go ahead and try it, but it seems like the damage is done. Too much, too fast, and too protected. That is the perfect way to describe Cody Rhodes, you know? They gave Cody the world without even letting him fight for it. You know, keep in mind, by the way, that The Rock has been absent for the entirety of this entire heel run. The final Diddy himself has been absolutely just gone. You know, he hasn't appeared once since Elimination Chamber. He's the reason why John Cena came and sold his soul out to The Rock and he turned heel. And it's bullshit. So now the real question is, who's showing up at SummerSlam? Is Rock gonna do it? Is he gonna show up and ruin the show and return now of all times? Is Travis Scott gonna pull off another interference? Hell, WWE's been teasing a potential return for Brock Lesnar, which, me personally, I would not be upset about. So who knows what's going to end up happening. And there you guys have it. Cody Rhodes' WWE return was meant to be the start of a great redemption arc. It was a homecoming, and it was a storybook ending, and somewhere along the way, it just turned into something else. It was just a saga of constant rerouting, corporate shuffling, and what many people, myself included, would call the most over-pushed run in modern WWE history, right next to Big Dog Roman Reigns. You know, he returned as a hero to come finish a story only to get wrapped up in celebrity interference with The Rock and Travis Scott. Like, come on. You know, forced rivalries, confusing heel turns that don't make any sense because Rock's not even around. Cody's journey has just become harder and harder to connect with, which is why, you know, he lost me as a fan. And what started as just pure raw emotion and an actual investment just turned into predictable booking and a complete huge spotlight for Cody Rhodes and Cody Rhodes alone. It's not that Cody is not talented. He absolutely is. Of course he is. You know, he wouldn't be where he is now if he wasn't. But when the crowd starts to groan at all of his wins, when people online become really upset, I mean, not that everyone should listen to every single thing people say online. IWC is completely cancerous. Not completely, but majority of it is. But when the big moments start to feel hollow and they're not big moments anymore, and when guys like Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar are losing in matches just to fuel this machine of Cody Rhodes and to put him over, it's really time to ask yourselves the question, was the story ever really about Cody Rhodes? Or was it just the company's own image of him? That is going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any suggestions for what I should do next, what I should do differently, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. Just want to real quick apologize for repeating and slurring my words. I just get really nervous sometimes doing videos because I haven't done them in like a handful of years, so I apologize for any mistakes I make. I'm really trying here, you know, I'm not a high, big production guy, but I'm trying my best. But SummerSlam this weekend, hope everyone enjoys it. I will be putting out a video about my thoughts about it sometime in the future. Stay sharp, stay real. This has been Steel, and have a good one.